Hey there, everybody. It is Mr. Davison. If you're watching this video, it means that Mrs. Davison and I have had our baby boy, Micah, which is really exciting. Super pumped about that. But it also means that I am not there to walk you through the level 2 portion of your PBL. So remember that our level 1 that should be completed by now was focused on that planning and brainstorming portion of your project. You and your partner should have by now discussed what voiceless group you want to focus on for your project and kind of discussed what are some possibilities for your project format, a website, a podcast, etc. So now you're ready for level 2. So if you notice right here on my screen, I've got opened up the level 2 guide. If I go over to Google Classroom, this is what your assignment is going to look like, PBL Level 2. And you're watching the level 2 info video right now, which is great. But this level 2 guide, which is the first thing that you can open up, is where I've laid out every single task you need to complete in order with some tips along the way. The first thing I want you to know about level 2 is that you will complete all research before you make your project. Common misconception I've had over the last couple of years, students are excited about making their website and they want to jump right in. But because this is a research project taking the place of a 10-page research paper, remember we talked about that, we have to complete all of our research before we start the actual project to ensure that all of the stuff that we're making and all the information we're going to be sharing is based on research, not just prior knowledge or what we think we know about our voiceless group. Okay. The other thing I want you to notice is that I've selected 4 credible sources as being the requirement for this project. You're free to have more, but you need to have at least 4 credible sources. So that brings us to our first question in this level is how do we know if a source is credible or not? How do we know if it's okay to use this certain website? Is it academic enough? Well, that's what this first task is for. So if you scroll down, you'll notice the first task is the research video and Google form quiz. The first thing, you'll watch the video. It's just a couple minutes long. And then you and your partner separately need to take the research quiz, which is a Google form. Just like the Ed Puzzle, you need to get at least a 4 out of 5, 80% or higher on the quiz to move on. If you score lower though, the nice thing is I don't have to reset it for you. You can just close out of the quiz and retake it directly there. So if you go over to your assignment, the research mini lesson video is right here. Miss Elam made it last year. She did a great job with it, very informative. And then the quiz is located right under it. When you're done with the quiz, then you're good to start your research. But we don't want you to get lost or overwhelmed or go about your research in a misguided way. So what Miss Elam and I have done is we put together 4 research questions that we want you to answer. That's what the second assignment is. So if you go back to Classroom and open up that research questions document, it will open up this. And you'll notice you're going to use the following questions to help you organize and plan your research. While you're researching, provide a thorough and correctly cited answer to each question. Now, each one of these questions is very broad, so it just talks about your voiceless group in general. Why is it important for voiceless groups to have a voice? What proof do you have that this group is voiceless, etc.? When you're answering these questions, you don't have to have direct quotes from your research in your answer. You can paraphrase, but the answers, again, need to come from the research, not just from what you know about the topic. Once you've answered our 4 questions that we've provided, we want you to create your own 3 questions that are specific to your voiceless group. And the answers that you provide here should give information that you haven't answered in the 4 questions above. So once you've answered all 7 of these questions, 3 that you've created, 4 that we've provided you, you're ready for the third section, which I actually think is one of the easier ones to complete, and that's the research notes. Okay, this is simply going to be where you collect those sources so that when you go to make your project in level 3, you have that information readily available to you. So it's this research notes document right here. If you open that up, it looks like this. And the first thing I want to point out, you've got source 1. If you scroll down, source 2, source 3, and source 4. So please don't be confused in thinking that if you fill it out for the first source, you're done. You need to do this for all 4 of your sources for this project. Pretty self-explanatory, folks. The title of the article, the URL, that's the web address you're going to paste here. You must have at least one direct quote from the source and then 2 other notes, which can be paraphrases in your own words, whatever. But your direct quote goes here, your other notes go here. And then your citations. Okay, this is where this video is going to help you the most. You are going to need to provide a reference list citation and an in-text citation. So there's going to be a second video that I'm going to make. It's going to be shorter, but you need to watch that when you get to this point so that you know how to get those citations correctly formatted so you can paste them in. Okay. The other thing I want to point out about the notes is I went ahead and made a model for you that's filled in with information that I found about a topic that I picked. So if you go back to your classroom and you scroll down, you should see research notes model. If you open up that document, everything that's in blue is the information that I found. So the title of my article is here. I pasted in the URL, found a direct quote, 2 notes. You'll notice those are in my own words. And then the citations, which again, another video that I will share with you will give you that information on how to get those citations. Okay, you've done most of the grunt work now. If you have all 4 of those filled out on your research notes document, then you're ready for our final task, which is the project proposal number 2. Okay, if you open up that document, you've got 6 questions. Some of them are going to take you longer than others. So I want you to restate your voiceless group. What project format have you chose? So now you need to decide, are we doing a website? Are we doing a podcast? You need to choose it here. We want you to identify what program or software you're going to use, because in the past we've had students that are so gung-ho about doing a podcast or doing a whatever, and then they get halfway through their project and realize, oh, they don't know what they're going to use to make that, and then they get all flustered. So make sure you have a plan before you actually start making it. Okay. Question 4, you need to choose your 3 research questions from this research questions document. We've given you 7. Well, we've given you 4. You provided 3. 7 total. You need to pick 3 that you think are the most important for your project. Place them here and then answer them based on your research. Okay, so you should already have that done, but go ahead and paste the 3 that you think are the most important there. Okay, we want you to list your 4 sources, just the title and the URL, so you've got that readily accessible to you later on. And then here, you need to create a plan on how you're going to use this project to share with people outside of the classroom. Okay, if you're going to create a website, how are you and your partner going to get that website to people that are not in the class? If you're going to create a vlog or make an infographic, how are you going to share that? Because remember, the point of our project is not to get a grade. It is to help give our voiceless group a voice in the world that goes outside of Mr. Davison's classroom. Okay, finally, the last thing I want you to take a look at is this rubric, because that's what we're going to use to grade your project when it's done. Okay, before we start making it, let's take a look at what we're shooting for. Okay, so take a look at this level 4 column that's in green. That's what you want to do. That's what you're shooting for. That's 100%. You're going to try and make sure that your project helps solve the problem, uses research from credible sources, is organized and user-friendly, and is attractive, professional, and high quality. If you have any questions, please email me. I will try and be as available as I can be, and have a wonderful day.